Google. You make me feel reinvigorated with that song you were just playing. You made me, I think deep with that song. Yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, this morning, I'm in a placid mood. Placid in terms of, I feel a bit renewed. First of all, today being the 3rd of March 2022, the Thursday, the first Thursday after a taste of Carnival. Well, you know, there is a saying by the old people, after play, we have to go back to work. So let's focus on all that we have to do. At least revisit the end of the year when all of us made the decision or made a pledge to see what we would do. So at the end of 2022, we will have accomplished something. You know, at the 31st of every year, at the end of the year, we tend to say, look, I will want this to happen. Let's reflect. Today is just the 3rd of March. Let's just reflect on the time, the 31st of the last month, to where we are at this point and see where we need to buck up. Now, this morning, I would like to make a suggestion or proposal, that type of things, to the said gentleman. And I would like to start with Mr. Harvey Boris. Mr. Harvey Boris is a worker, a fighter. He has his program, The Hot Seat, on Synergy. Over the years, he has worked on certain radio stations, and his plight is for progress. Progress in terms of the Afro-Trinidadians, or for those who would like me to say the word, for those Africans. He has worked and still working in the vineyard. And I requested of him to look into this subject as regards where we are at and where we are going in terms of land space. To Mr. Harvey Boris, I want to say this morning, the last 4 Thursdays that I've been here, if I've said anything out of context or anything that I shouldn't have said, I want to humbly apologize this morning. And I'm still asking you, sir, to work hard about the same subject matter. And I turn to now Mr. Kwesi Atiba. Mr. Kwesi Atiba, I've been listening to you for years also on the platform in terms of radio. You are on I-95.5 every Sunday. You used to be at a different time, but you're presently on I-95.5 on Sundays. I think it's from 6 to 7 or 7 to 7, around that time. Can't remember this, it eludes me at this point in time, but I do listen to you, sir. And in your discourse, your program is filled with a lot of information. As a matter of fact, they have a connotation to your program, Mr. Atiba, is the shortest hour in talk radio. Why they say that? Your program is so interesting. Sometimes the program is going so good and then the time just come and it's there, the time goes. So, Mr. Atiba, I would like, sir, this morning to ask you, along with Mr. Boris, to keep the fight in terms of my humble request. And if I have said anything that was not in alignment in terms of all I have said for the last 4 Thursdays, I want to also apologize, sir. Mr. David Mohammed. Mr. Mohammed, I give you a notch above the rest. Not in terms of comparing, sir, but in terms of what you have done and what you are still doing. You are a worker. It's in the eyes for all of us to see, sir, that you are working. And what I would like to pay specific or say something specifically this morning to is the fact that the interest you have in the young men. I salute you, Mr. Mohammed, where that is concerned. You have the young men at heart, and I must say I commend you, sir, where that is concerned. You know the struggles you went through in terms of where you are at now. All I am suggesting, sir, or asking kindly is that you join Mr. Harvey Boris, Mr. Kwesi Atiba, in terms of the struggle based on the question I asked. I now turn to Mr. Selwyn Kojo. Mr. Selwyn Kojo, sir, I've been listening to you for years also on radio. You see, I love to listen. I love to listen to talk shows. I follow people. I may not call, but I do listen. And Mr. Kojo, you had a talk show program some time now, and your program, sir, was in total banter, if I could use that word, with Mr. Satmaraj. It was a total to and fro with you and Mr. Satmaraj in those days. And then, Mr. Selwyn Kojo, I just miss you. You just, I wasn't hearing you on the radio anymore. Okay. And years after, sir, Mr. Selwyn Kojo, I heard Mr. Satmaraj Mr. Satmaraj launched a book. And when Mr. Satmaraj launched that book, it was said that you would be the main speaker or one of the main speakers in terms of speaking in terms of the book, the launch of the book, or I should say. And I was a bit surprised, knowing what transpired in the past and now here. Anyway, the bottom line is, Mr. Selwyn Kojo, I would like, sir, for you two to be a part of this with Mr. Harvey Boris, Kwesi Atiba, David Mohammed, in terms of the question I asked you. And if I have said anything based on the last 4 Thursdays, I humbly apologize. Anything out of context. Because, it was in me. I was angry, and sometimes you say things and, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines, sir, you are an MP. I would say one of the longest serving MP in this country. And Mr. Fitzgerald Hines have belly. I would say so, because the kind of ridicule and chastising and whatever else on that category, Mr. Hines stay working in the vineyard. Yeah? And Mr. Hines know his demographics from Laventille East, tip of Laventille East, way down to Laventille, south, west, everything. And why I say so, I recall in the 2015 election, when I was assisting with Mr. Leons and Mr. Hines came in, he indicated but all his billboards. I know where all his billboards supposed to be placed, but it had a particular billboard in Laventille, in the heart of Laventille, Despers. And he requested of me to follow him so that I could see the exact spot where that billboard was going on. Mr. Hines passed me through some roads that I didn't even know exist. So I'm saying that to say he knows the in and out of the Laventille, the whole Laventille, east, west, and whatever. And I also want to add, based on, rethinking things, if there is an award to be given to a minister or MP who has done the most chastising and ridicule, Mr. Hines will win that right, forthright. But you know what? He keeps on working. So it's in that light, I say, Mr. Hines, sir, if I've said anything in the past, last 4 Tuesdays, because I may not have had all the facts, but I just say what was in me, because I think it's only fair that a balance be had, you see? So, last but not least, Mr. Kafra Kambon. Mr. Kafra Kambon, so you are a warrior. I could align you to the Kunta Kintes in the African community, so you are a fighter. Yeah? And hence the reason why I use the emancipation as an overall something to align us, the national public, too. Yeah? And in my heart, in my humble analysis, I believe we could be better placed on the map of Trinidad and Tobago. You see, and this is what have me so intense and so, who is speaking on our behalf? Who is speaking on our behalf, you see? And when I see things happening elsewhere in terms of the other communities or the other races, I see in progress. I see in progress in terms of, space and that have you. And this is why, Mr. Kambon, I use the emancipation, and I would hope that these said gentlemen, based on my request, could see it in some way to get together, have a discussion. You know what I'm saying? It could happen. It could happen because where we are at now, to me, my from what I am seeing, I think we are at the bottom of the ladder in terms of assets, what we have, in terms of where we could compare, you see? And we speak to reparation, and I am saying, yes. And I looked up the word reparation, and reparation is the action of making amends for a wrong one had done by providing payment or other assistance to those who have been wronged. Yeah? And I looked at that and said, you know something, when I went on the Emancipation Support Community fan Facebook page, and I read through certain things, and that stood out, reparation. And there are also certain things what was said in terms of we trying to know ourselves before certain, which I don't want to speak too much this morning, because this morning, as I said, I want to reach out to the said gentleman and to say I am not here to cause any divisiveness. So it's just that it was in me, and I think I want to say now to reach out to everyone. And I just spoke to reparation and what is the meaning, and I, in my humble self, say this. We cannot redo injustice. We cannot redo injustice, but we can move on and achieve. In anticipation, if there be any changes to what we have been wronged about, yeah? And I'm speaking to reparation and what was done, but it don't mean we have to press the pause button and wait for a space and do certain things and not go to the real thing. You know what I mean? I believe we could go to the real, which is the land space. You gentlemen could get together, have a discussion. You know what I mean? The do's and the don'ts, what transpired before, what we're supposed to do. Hence the reason why I, in my humbleness, try to put these men in that driver's seat, because I know it could be done. I would like this morning to open up the lines. If anybody wants to say anything or ask any question, Mr. Google, sir, I would say people could make the comments if they so choose. So if you would kindly, so just give the numbers. So
the numbers are 342-0081, 342-0081, 771-1791, 771-1791, and 466-5391. Those are the numbers you can call to get in. You can send your voice notes also on 771-1791. That is our WhatsApp numbers. So you can send your WhatsApp messages, voice messages to 771-1791. All right, 771-1791. Also, again, the numbers to call are 342-0081, 342-0081, and 466-5391.
Well done, Mr. Google. And I also want to say, I also humbly apologize to Mr. Kafra Kambon, who, after the last 4 Thursdays, based on my dissemination, if I've said anything contrary, because you see, I want to humbly apologize. Because you see, sometimes when you are in the driver's seat, when you have a situation before you, people on the outside looking in would say, well, look how long they're taking. Look how long they're saying this and they're promising this and that, and up to now, what happened? And this is why I am here this morning after a little introspection. I believe everybody have the opportunity to say something. And this is why you see, I wrote the letter with the big word questions to the top. And I felt slighted and I left a number. No one. So this is why now I'm asking these said gentlemen if they could look into this and try, let us try to at least start something where a space could be accredited to us, the Afro-Trinidadians. I mean, a national space. You see, that is my concern. And again, if anybody choose to call in, the numbers are 342-0081. It's a discussion. You could have your say. I might have said something in the past 4 Tuesdays that you disagreed with and you would like to call in and say so. Or if you choose to suggest or request something for this to move forward, you could also call the WhatsApp number, which is 771-1791. The WhatsApp number is 771-1791. We have 466-5391. Now, as I wait for the calls, if anyone chooses to, I want to say, let's say you have a business. You own a business.
Hello, morning.
Pleasant good morning to all.
Morning, ma'am.
In the studio this morning.
Okay.
This is from Lapina. I just want to say big up to Mr. Hines. Really and truly, he's a hard worker.
Definitely.
Definitely. So from Lapina, Laventel, I just want to big him up. Pleasant good day.
Pleasant day, ma'am. Pleasant morning to you. Yes.
Okay.
As I was saying, you own a business. And you who own the business knows the ins and out of the business. Those who are around you would see certain things and say, wow, he have real money or business going nice. But they don't know at the end of everything, at the end of the day, you had to pay the bank. Yeah, you had to pay the workers. Yeah, you had to say about your family, food, travel. And then all those on the outside looking in would say, I need more. But I ain't get more because look how things looking up. I should get more. Yeah? And I am saying that as an analogy to speak to our people. Our people. I would like to say 99.9% of people who listen to this radio station is Afro-Trinidadians or Africans, as I said. And we, for some reason, always like to be on the outside, looking in and saying certain things and not going directly to the source to voice their opinion. I don't know if it's fair or what, but I believe in fairness to all of us. When we see something going on, we should say something going on. Because if you're in a home with children and you do not correct them, you is the one who does be held responsible. Yeah? Because there's much talk on the ground now when children do things in school, they want to hold the parent responsible. But then the parents are at home, they're doing their best. The child would move within what is required of them to do in the home. They would show you the best of them. But when they go to school and they meet their friends and peer pressure steps in and what have you, things start to happen. Yeah? And there and then, as a parent, and if you have big children now, children who are on their own and could mind themselves for a better word, and you see them doing something wrong and you don't tell them anything, you also are culpable. Yeah. Because I just always say, I prefer you vex with me, and because I know I tell you the right thing, at least you know I tell you something, than you and I smiling, laughing good, and I know you're doing something wrong. Yeah? Because I always remember my mom said years ago, this young man, he keep doing things. And the parent, the mother ain't telling him nothing at all. And then he end up in jail. Yeah? He end up in jail for a lifetime and he called the mother. We have a call? Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Morning.
Hi, morning, Pastor Google. Morning to
Morning,
your host. Right. Pastor Google, I just want to get a perspective as to the conversation, because I saw the opening remarks about the gentleman apologizing to Mr. Cambon, and then he's speaking about who listens to the radio program, people of African descent. Is the program today? What's the context in relation to what? Because I'm listening, but I'm not getting exactly where we are going with the conversation. I just want to get the gist of where we're going with it, as Cambon was referred to, and then the listeners. Where are we going? What's the perspective?
Okay, first of all, morning. A pleasant morning to you, sir. Morning, sir.
We left.
Oh, he left. Oh, that sounds like Mr. Rowley Jr., if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? Because I'm always listening. It sounds like Mr. Rowley Jr. The question, sir, is where we are at and where are we going in terms of land space for the Afro-Trinidadians. This is my 5th stint on this said station, sir. And I have said certain things, and I believe in my humble view this morning, in retrospect, that I should speak to each of the individuals, because I gave out letters to the said gentleman named who have called, and I just suggest this morning or request of them, based on the letter, for them to have a discussion among themselves to more or less bring a level of reality to the subject matter or to the question. So basically that is about it, so in terms of calling Mr. Cambon's name, and it was Mr. Cambon along with 5 other gentlemen. I know you came in a bit late, sir, but that's basically the gist of it. Morning, caller.
Good morning. I'm listening to what you're saying, and I love what you say about Mr. Hines. The reason why that I love what you say, because with all the treatment they did with Mr. Hines, what they did him on the meet him last time when he went down there, what they did to him. And I think yesterday papers I saw where the work was completed on the meeting. So with all the wickedness they do to him, he really still stand up and help who needed when he could help. Okay? Have a blessed one, my dear.
Thank you, ma'am. And the thing is, as you just indicated, that wouldn't make front page, and the people who would normally call to blast the same said gentleman, wouldn't call in and speak to that. Right now, they are waiting in the wings to see what negative, because we live on sensationalism, reality. And right now, the opposing teams look for everything that they could blast the PNM about. Yeah? And this is why I am here speaking on the fact of some level of alignment in terms of land space. Because what I am saying here is nothing new. And over the years, I will hear people from the PNM, the hierarchy of the PNM, call in and speak to that in terms of, look what it is, nothing happening, chalala. And in that light, I believe the government in place should look into that. Because if you could tell me, my parents ain't gave me nothing, and my parents ain't gave me, and my parents have the will to give me some, well then, let the talk stop, what they would say after. Yeah, but they always call in and say about Laventail and the B-term and everything and say what we look like from since then and now nothing happening. So this is why I came, and I believe something good will come out of this. I met an old lady years ago. When I met that lady, she was, I think, 96 to 98. She was in a wheelchair. I was traveling and I met this lady, and the reason why I draw her attention, I have a way when I'm laughing, I laugh loud. And I'm in this particular place, and there I am, laughing loud. And I can't remember what airport I was in. But anyway, this lady came across, and she spoke to me, and she told me where she lived, and when I come back to visit her, I visit the old lady, and she has been an inspiration to my life. She died at the age of, I think, at 103. Yeah, Miss Evelyn Adams. And she told me one thing, which I will never forget. Life plays a trick. And I want to say that to Trinidad and Tobago today. Life plays a trick. Morning, caller, morning.
Hi, morning, sir. Morning, Pastor Google.
Pleasant morning, sir.
Pleasant morning. I was looking at the past administration and how they distributed lands among people. Like you had a person got lands for his committee, as he said, and although he is in control of everything, but he was given land. Within the time, we had several strong African leaders in that party. And we haven't gotten any land to have like a village with buildings and structures to help our young black men and women. You know, something that we could have built on, like if the administration that they were in, a day lobby, and I'm not blaming the administration itself, and I not really want to blame anybody. I'm just saying what could have happened then is that they could have lobbied to get land because they were given all the lands. Sometimes you want to know what was the process in giving all those lands. Now, fast forward to this administration, still in saying nobody really actually lobbying the government with a proper plan and structure for them to be given a piece of land. And we have our Emancipation Committee, and we have the NJAC and the other groups. But to me, they're not really serious and actually pushing for the land. They want more people to give it to them without actually putting forward a proposal and a proper proposal to sell to this government, because I know this government would give it to them. But it must be above board, and that is what we fail to realize. It doesn't make no sense that we be getting things like land and other things, and everybody starts to fight for what they want. And it's not about what one individual wants. It's building a strong community among ourselves. And we have to come together. We must not be fighting on everybody's effort. And I'll be listening to you. So someone never called me the first time I called into your program. Because I support you 100%. Because actually you're doing something. You're coming out and you're saying something. And if we need more people like you, like to join on board and come out and speak. And I wish our black leaders would actually, see your plight, put aside the politics between the UNC and the PNM, and actually say, well, it's about time a black community get land. Because the Hindu community has been getting lands ever since. They get land here, they get land there, they get land there, they get land there. What does the black community get? I mean, David Mohammed was able to lobby to get a building, and I'm grateful that he got one. But I talk about acres of land where we could have several structures, and we could keep, our culture. We could invite people from Africa to come and speak, so we can have an idea about our heritage, where we came from, how we end up where we are, what did we miss out, what was the culture like when we lived in Africa. We need to know more about Africa. We need to know why, instead of going through Europe to go to Africa, why we can't just go in the opposite direction and go direct into Africa. Because look at
Kola, I want to say I agree with you, and we are on the countdown, just a couple seconds.
Thank
you very much, sir. And I just want to say, yes, we do invite people to our space, but the space is not ours. The Queen's Park Savannah is not ours. It was renamed. We are in alignment with the Queen's Park Savannah. We are in alignment with the Mandela Park. We are the statue what was placed on in front of the Treasury building. We are in alignment with that because that was the place where I can't recall the exact situation. And presently, ladies and gentlemen, we are awaiting another monument, a next monument. I don't want to say I'm placid. All I want to say to the gentlemen, please, gentlemen, let us do something so we'll get something of significance by God's grace. Have a pleasant day, ladies and gentlemen.
Street 919 FM, this and every Thursday for the program Conscious Talk. Conscious Talk. Where we are at and where we are going with Steve Antoine as regards the land space for the celebration of Emancipation Day. Every Thursday from 10:25 a.m. to 10:55 a.m. It's Conscious Talk on the Street 919 FM.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh Lord, I feel a joy in my soul. When you went down Jordan this morning, I feel a joy in my soul. When the sins wash away. Hey, tell me how you did feel. When you went down Jordan this morning, tell me how you did feel. When your sins wash away. Jordan River, so chilly and cold, it's in my body, but not my soul. Oh Jordan River, so chilly and cold.